Worthless price guides. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's have a look at an article which is discussing, well, real estate's apparently underquoting and price guides that are essentially useless. You know, heading out there and the expectation, or what the agent tells you while visiting, is a lot different to what they were advertising on the website. Now, I haven't had to experience that, at least not in buying, because, I mean, we bought a long time ago. It's starting to become a long time ago. But I did see it when we were looking at rental. Just before we were looking at getting a place to buy, we wanted to consider moving house, because where we were in the middle of Brisbane was getting more and more expensive. And you'd rock up, and there'd be 30 people there, and people would be offering above and beyond what was already asked for. And I thought, yeah, I'm not putting up with this anymore. So, I mean, there you go. It's a sign of what? Of an overheating market. So, how much? What's going on out there right now? And I thought we'd have a look at Brisbane. I'll bring up this realestate.com.au map for Brisbane. I just looked at places for sale. And I noticed this when I did my Bluey episode, Critical of Bluey, you know, the cartoon, where the house that they have is completely beyond the ability of them, the Bluey couple, to afford, given the careers they have. You know, he's an archaeologist. The wages for that are kind of terrible in Brisbane. Everyone, they're just I think, what, 60 grand or something? And she works at airport security part-time, so they can't afford living in the nice suburbs that they do. But I know it's a cartoon, and it's a fantasy. But looking at that, I noticed how few, there we go, we've got one offers over 625. There's for sale. How few properties actually had prices for sale by negotiation, auction, offers over 750. So we're getting some prices starting from 2, auction. There you go, 325 for an apartment. Apartments are getting a little cheaper in Brisbane at the moment. Let's have a look at Albion. Expressions of interest. Offers above 490, for sale. So we're getting a bit of a mix. Under contract, for sale now, auction, for sale now. Offers over 750. Sorry, 730 for this. Let's have a look at this one. This is a townhouse. $730,000, guys, for this. Wow. Okay. Cow. So I'm getting distracted. 730 grand for this thing. What do you think? Anyway, you can see that there are some of them showing prices. A lot don't seem to be. You know, it's all by negotiation. Prices. So I can appreciate how it's frustrating for people to go out there and have a look. If you're looking for property, I'm getting emails from viewers who have sold out, they wanted to upgrade, and they're just getting exhausted, utterly exhausted out there at the moment. And so let's look at this article that's talking about essentially worthless price guides. So, you know, our real estate's underquoting, because I spoke to a real estate agent friend, and he was telling me that it's just because they don't know where the market's going. It's just going crazy. It's so hot. You don't want to put a offer in that's too low. You don't want to go too high either. So, Aussie real estate agents accused of underquoting on price guides. With houses selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars above price guides and reserves, some claim there's a widespread problem. Or is it just, well, sure, there is a widespread problem. Systematic government intervention in the housing market, which is pumping it up to the moon. A cash rate, that's a joke. You know, intergenerational borrowing. You know, lending to other family members. And all of this is overheating the market because we're property obsessed here in Australia. Property is the Australian gold. Property, I would argue, is the Australian precious metals. This is what people discuss at a barbecue of where to put your money. How many people would talk about property and have a discussion about property, but wouldn't even dare think about investing in shares? I can't be the only one that's encountered that. Let us know in the comments while I have some coffee, because I've seen that. You know, Australia is one of the biggest shareholder-owning populations in the world, or at least we were a few years ago, last time I checked. But a lot of that was Combank and Telstra. So, with a $250,000 deposit, so a fairly hefty deposit, Melbourne woman Grace Almeida had turned up to auctions ready to buy a home based on the price guides, but hasn't even gotten a bid in. 22-year-old, she's doing pretty good at 22 if she's got a $250,000 deposit. Has been looking for a 2-bedroom unit in southeast Melbourne for the past 3 months. She was lucky enough to have been left with some money from her grandparents, but said she had been saving for a home since she was 18. Okay, so, I mean, she got an inheritance. And what do you do with the inheritance here in Australia? You put it into property, you get a house. I mean, 22. I guess. I mean, another viewer sent me an email. He sent me a picture for the real estate fail, which I have to use. And he's middle-aged, he's earning well, he's got, money, the bank will lend him whatever he wants. But he's single. Does he need a house? Do you need to lock yourself into one location? Okay, I'm a middle-aged father with a growing, very young family. We want a house. We want stability. You want that at least sense of security for your children. Some certainty. Because the ultimate privilege is having having 2 parents, loving parents, and a stable home. So, her first auction was for a 2-bedroom unit in Surrey Hills in Melbourne. Its original price guide was $700,000 to $770,000, which was then upped to $730,000 to $800,000. It was pretty small, and the kitchen and bathroom needed to be redone, and it ended up going for $950,000, she told news.com.au. Why are people saying the kitchen and bathroom needed to be redone? If the waterproofing is fine and you don't have a mold issue, you live in it, you put up with it. Maybe you do something cosmetic and style it up a bit. I know it's probably not, well, it's not pretty enough, is it? That's the thing. There's redone for health and safety issues, and there's redone for bragging issues. I mean, there's the difference. Maybe you go something cheap and you just hold off. I was waiting until it slowed down at around 750 mark, but it never slowed down. It's just disheartening. It's so much above what you expect it to be, so it's like, what's the point in showing up? And the practice of real estate underquoting is becoming a problem that's happening right across Australia, with Fair Trade recently announcing a crackdown on Sydney real estate agents who deliberately underquote property prices. I mean, how can you prove that? Those caught will face fines of up to $22,000 and the loss of their commission under the Property Stock and Business Agents Act. Miss Almeida said that a couple of weeks ago she was interested in another property in the Melbourne suburb of Camberwell. The price guide was again amended from $680,000, $730,000 to $750,000, $800,000. I went to auction, and once again I didn't even get a bid in, and it went for $890,000. The price guides are quite obviously not accurate. I think really you do need to add $200,000 on top of it, even to be in an accurate range, she said. She said it highlighted the issues of misleading price guides as property prices continue to rise across Australia. Well, or you're buying at the peak of just a property boom, a frenzy. You're buying at a frenzy. Can the agents keep up? What they're trying to. In all honesty, I would probably feel sorry for the real estate agents here. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. Because think about it. I mean, it's going crazy. It's just going crazy. Is this rational? Paying so much for a donkey little unit. Buyers agents have said the issue is widespread. One real estate agent with more than 20 years experience said it was in the absolute minority. Agents don't need to do anything else other than list a property at the correct price, and the market will do the rest, the agent said. Well, I'm sure there's a little bit more to being a real estate agent. You've got to sell, and I guess being a good one. So our misleading price guides are a widespread problem. Owning a home has always been a dream for Miss Almeida. She's 22. She's still a kid. I mean, God, she's young. She's 22. Okay. Do you want to get into that much debt? 700, 800 grand at 22 years old. Stick the money in some good, boring dividend stocks that aren't going to move, and live your life a little bit and just earn some cash. Live at home and build up a stack. Maybe I'm just getting old. Who said she is still scrolling through property listings, but is thinking it may be better to wait out the current market craziness. Okay, so she's got her head screwed on. You get your hopes up, and you get excited, and then when there's no way you were ever going to be able to afford that property, it's disheartening, and you lose your motivation to keep looking, she explained. It's interesting. I thought I'm in a really fortunate position that a lot of people aren't in. I heard a lot of people are trying to get in the property market with a 10% deposit, and even some of the schemes offer a 5% deposit. So I thought I'm in a great position that a lot of people aren't in, but that hasn't materialized into anything. I thought it would be I would be a bit more lucky actually securing a property having the larger deposit. Melbourne buyer's advocate Wendy Chamberlain, a fully licensed real estate agent who has been working in the industry for 24 years, claims misleading price guides was currently widespread. She attended an auction for a client a week ago in Box Hill South, and the property sold for $530 over the advertised reserve price. Well, is that a sign of a misleading price, or is that a sign of an insane market? It's Box Hill. Box Hill, you've got a lot. It's the popular Asian suburb in Melbourne. I remember driving through Box Hill. We'd go shopping at Box Hill when I was a kid. Around 4 weeks ago, we attended another auction on Box Hill South. The property sold for $510 over the top of the guide price. I am seeing this consistently with properties when hunting for clients at the moment, she said. Ms. Chamberlain said at another auction she had $200,000 over the reserve to bid on the property with a price guide of $1.3 million, which ended up selling for $1.86 million. Well, you need to do that to get into the paper. That's why people are paying this extra money. It's so they can get featured in the paper, everyone. Come on. It's worth it. What's $500,000 between friends? You can get an article in Domain. That'll go down in history. I'm becoming too cynical. You'd think if you'd shown up at auction with $200,000 over the guide price, you would have a good shot at it, she said. Well, no, you don't. Not in this market. This is showing you how crazy it is. How a price guide is determined. In Victoria, price guides need to be based on comparable sales in the past 6 months within a 2-kilometre radius of the home being sold. Well, there you go. What's wrong with that? That's the problem. If you're right at the top, if you're right at the top of a property frenzy, your price guide's always going to be based on this data here, not at here. If this could this be? Here's a question for you. Could this be a sign that we've hit the peak? That it's just going insane? Is the Dogecoin that's our property market about to start plummeting down? Imagine if we could get Elon Musk to tweet about Australian property, everyone. Imagine that. Let's not. Don't even try it. Realestate.com.au figures revealed 1 in 5 Melbourne homes sold above their advertised price in February 2021. But data from the Victoria's Consumer Watchdog does not reflect a rise in reported underquoting incidents. Consumer Affairs Victoria received 212 complaints and inquiries relating to underquoting from December 1 and February 28, down from 242 for the same period the previous year. Ms. Chamberlain called for the comparable sales period to be shortened down to 3 months in Victoria in the current market. Well, there should be multiple price guides, really, you think. Or, well, this is what, if you were going there to figure out what a property is and you looked at 6 months of sales, you'd be offered too. Sydney-based agent Emma Cameron said underquoting on price guides is currently a huge and widespread problem in New South Wales too. Price guides are meant to be based on recent comparable sales guides, evidence explained Miss Cameron, who has been in the industry for 10 years. But given the unexpected and extraordinary price increases in the first quarter of 2021, many agents are possibly waiting for further evidence that the increased prices will be sustained and become a new norm before providing more accurate price guides, she said. The chronically low stock levels, and we've seen that, with more buyers than sellers is creating extremely competitive bidding, and for some reason buyers have a fear of missing out mentality at the moment, and these for some reason, bullshit for some reason. Come on, don't these agents follow the news, the media, how much hype has been out there for some reason? Come on. Anyway, and the factors are driving prices up for some reason. Seriously, incorrect price guides make buyers resentful of the selling agent for having wasted their time and resources and leaving them with a feeling of having been misled that the property was within their budget. There is a lot of buyer fatigue out there at the moment. She advised her clients to add 20 to 30% on top of the price guides. 20 to 30%. There is, however, a difference between quoting low and underquoting, she added. If the price guide is not below the bottom end of what is written on the selling agency agreement, then technically their agent is not underquoting, she explained. Only a sinister few agents are doing misleading price guides, but Doug Driscoll, chief executive of the Sydney real estate agency Star Partners, said it's the absolute minority and a sinister few who are using the illegal tactic of producing misleading price guides, and the problem is not widespread in the industry. I can't stress that enough. I don't know of anyone or any competitor I've seen about the traps who are culpable of this. In the event that such things transpire, the onus is on fair trade to come down on the people who with an absolute ton of bricks. I wouldn't say it's fair trade. I would say it's your profession. I would say it's the job of your profession. Don't cop out and say, oh, fair trade, the government man has to come and take it in. If you are considered a profession of real estate agents, your body needs to come down on these shonky bastards. The real estate, your real estate club. It's meant to, that's the whole thing of being like a profession and having a guild and a body. They're the ones that should push conformance and quality. Because the government, I feel it's a bit of theatre in some regards. Maybe I'm just too cynical and have seen legislation and rules and licensing just completely ignored because it's too much work for the bureaucrats. They've got no interest. That's the problem. The bureaucrats in there, sure, some of them, I guarantee you, will be hard workers, but how many of them will just be, it's extra work. If I fill out this form and do this, I create a whole lot of work. If I ignore it, I don't create a lot of work. Whereas a professional body, an organization of the agents themselves, has a duty of care. And, then you can maybe pick an agent that, is like a board plus licensed agent or the agent association, that type of thing. That's why you want the private organizations to have onerous requirements on them. And that's, in one regard, that's the argument for removing registration for architects in practice, because I'm board certified architect. I quit the Royal Australian Institute of Architects because, the costs were too high. But if the board didn't exist, then I'd be rushing right there to join them or the AIA and then they'd make you jump through some hoops to keep your registration. What would be better for the public? Anyway, at the end of the day, misleading people and giving them false hope isn't right. Moving home is such an emotional experience at the best of times, and we don't want to get people's hopes up only to get them dashed because of sinister tactics employed to generate more interest. Well, one could argue that's happening on a nation level right now, where people have saved up a deposit and then boom, you've got all this intervention. You've got all this fuel being poured onto the property market bonfire. Given how hot the property market currently is, this type of manipulation also isn't necessary, he added. We're currently in the midst of a perfect storm. Agents don't need to do anything other than list a property at the correct price and the market will do the rest, he explained. At this moment in time, agents aren't selling properties, people are buying from them. Agents don't need to administer any underarm tactics. And maybe call me naive, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. There are situations where you will see price guides smashed and exceeded by several hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I don't think it's the agents that's misled people. I think they've got it massively wrong, and the finger is not close enough to the pulse. Mr. Driscoll, who has worked in real estate for 20 years, said some of the prices being achieved are blowing everyone away, with the market unpredictable and moving so quickly. Agents are trying their best, but there are results that defy logic. Well, But welcome to the Australian property market. Remember, guys, first recession in 28 years. Unemployment shooting right up, although it's coming back down. Trillions of dollars of debt that the government has incurred. But, you've got JobKeeper, you've got mortgage holidays. Prices smashing records. And for some reason, one of these agents doesn't know why people have FOMO. So, what tends to happen when people have FOMO is they do get carried away and pay way over the advertised price. We saw the same phenomenon in 2015 and 16. For buyers, he advised that if the price seems too good to be true, then it probably is, and people should conduct their own research. The public are more empowered than ever before. Consumers don't have to take things on face value, and the public have access to the same information as agents have, he said. Agents are no longer the gatekeepers of the information. We're in a fully transparent world now, and my advice is don't take things on face value. If you suspect you're being misled, do your own research. So, underquoting crackdown. In April, Fair Trading launched a blitz on agents who deliberately underquote property prices, with inspections turning up to agencies, auctions and open homes across Sydney in a bid to catch agents falsely advertising property or indicating it will sell for less than its estimated selling price. Those caught face a $22,000 fine. Anyway, let's see here. The inspectors identified 14 breaches while inspecting 33 agents in 1 week alone. Wow! Isn't that a waste of money? Is that not a waste of money? Think about it. All the civil servants, all the cars, all the costs, all the superannuation, all the officers for this. Better regulation minister. That just doesn't seem right. Better regulation minister. Kevin Anderson also commended the practice. With so many people, this is the point, guys. It gives a politician a soundbite, and it makes people feel like something's being done. So you're frustrated, you're going out there. It's an insane market at the moment. Half the agents are probably using outdated data. It's just going so crazy. And, so they'll send some civil servants to go around and look at stuff. And then a politician gets a soundbite. I don't even want to guess how much it costs. Have you ever seen those meeting apps where you calculate how much a meeting costs? All the people around the table, how long you spent, and what their hourly rate are. It's kind of scary. With so many people in New South Wales looking to buy, the last thing that potential home buyers need is to have their time and money wasted by real estate agents, providing misleading low and incorrect price estimates, Mr. Anderson said. Well, we already get so much of our time and money wasted having to work for the government and provide them all the taxation that, what's a real estate agent going to compare to that? We will also be using this opportunity to educate the industry and ensure agents are crystal clear on their obligations under the law. Anyone who suspects an agent has deliberately underquoted can lodge a complaint online or call New South Wales Fair Trading. In the year to September, they carried out a dozen compliance operations of real estate agents and issued almost $400,000 in fines. So, there we have it, everyone. Concern about worthless price guides. So what are the solutions to this? And I think exactly what the agents are telling us. Do your own research. Add a buffer onto the price range you're looking at. Because honestly, this has to be a symptom of an overheating market. This is not normal. It's going crazy. Look at recent sales and not price guides. But that's what the price guides are being based on. So it's nuts. Increase your buffer. Maybe just wait it out. Or maybe look for somewhere significantly cheaper to what you're thinking at. Would you go for it like 800 grand mortgage? 22? You tell me. So there we have it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us by signing up for SelfWealth or Stake, where if you go for SelfWealth, we each get 5 free share trades. When you sign up for Stake, we receive a free share each when you fund your account. And I know it's a bit of a hassle. I like that because I can buy partial shares of some American companies because their share prices are insane. You can use Independent Reserve for your crypto trading. Support us by buying our merch. We have pocket squares and stuff from Teespring you can see in the link below. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. And you can also help use GoldPass or PayPal. Take care. See you next time. Have a great day.